Welcome to my channel again, if you are returning. If not, thank you for being here. Uh, in my videos, all I really do is just talk about, I guess, some motivating, kind of like inspirational, kind of like just topics and things I've discovered and things that I know, in which I just like to share because if I can help, at least one person, with my words, then so be it. That's one person, trotting along their day with some giddiness in their steps. So I, if I can do that, then that's good enough for me. But in this video, we have something that I usually do, and it's a reading of a writing that I've done. This writing I did, I think, last week, so it's quite recent, and it's a really good writing. I just want to say, like, me personally, I think it's a good writing. The title of it is Dream Chasers, and it's really a remembrance of like dreams are actually true. They're not just fairy tales. They're not Disney movies. Dreams are something that you actually do achieve. And I think, like, I'm Gen Z, so I think a lot of the Gen Zers, a lot of the younger populace of the world feels like dreams don't happen, but I can guarantee you from my own personal experience, they actually do. And hopefully this writing can just instill hope. And it doesn't have to be a Gen Z or, who's like, oh no, I can't dream, It could be someone who's older as well. So, if you're older and you're listening, like, there's still chance as well. But let me read the true, just essence of what I want to talk about. And hopefully it just resonates with you. Enjoy the nature. We got the nature in here, so it feels good. I got a tea, so I'm I'm vibing. So yeah, just settle down, chill out. It's quite a long read, probably 10 minutes or so, and then we'll talk after. So you know, yeah. Without further ado, I'm gonna be looking down this way because my paper's here, and I'll just read off everything. The forgetfulness of possibilities even comes at me. Sometimes I create a dream and then abandon it. The world will become too loud and my will simply forgets what is anymore. Almost as if myself gets diluted with all the noise around in my life. This forgetfulness is, or a better fashion for the word, is I'm speaking of, might as well just be the ability to see, inability to see, which is blindness, causes most of my halters in my dream life. I have a strange feeling this blindness, as we have narrowed it down, does indeed happen to others. For whatever force gives us resistance, internal or external, the dreams that we create are not strong enough to withstand such resistance. At this point, I would, and do feel at least in myself, despair. Though we can shake our fist to the sky, and maybe some change happens. Though, what if, dot, 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 what if we find the halter points in our dream? Why don't we shape up the corners of the dream that are most vulnerable? Setbacks is almost, or rather is, natural order of life on earth. We all want the smoothest ascension to our highest self, but that is simply not always feasible. Take into account Disney characters. Even your favorite Disney characters face crazy opposing forces on the way to their happy ever afters. If setbacks are a normal part of the world, why do we feel so surprised when they happen to us? The clearest answer to that question is that we are human. We have emotions and feelings. If we did not feel despair for not achieving our dream, then that would be a signal, perhaps, that you didn't even care about the dream in the first place. Knowing that we are human and knowing that the creation of dreams comes with setbacks is now not a surprise, but an expected variable. Move forward with some awareness that truly anything can happen in a day. It's our job to make it the best day, but the best days are not always guaranteed. Best days are a product of the care we put into a day. A dream is a lot of these days, to speak plainly. That sentence, just mind that sentence. Blindness is temporary. Forgetfulness is not permanent. We can learn to see again. We can remind ourselves to remember. Keep on pressing forward, and you may very well see yourself in your dream. The setbacks do not mean anything after achieving your dreams. That's the end of the story, the writing, and hopefully you like that. If we just want to do a quick revision summary, maybe some extra add-ons onto it, then you can stay on, listen to the rest of the video, because I don't know, there's some parts of it that I feel maybe a bit altered on now because I've had some time to witness things, but I think the whole contents of everything is still very true. I think when I talked about blindness, I was thinking about my inability to see what I've done and inability to see the dream that I've made. I know from personal experience, and a lot of other people have told me, if you don't write anything down and you don't plan, how do you expect to see anything? How do you expect to know, where you're going if you don't actually put a target to your goal, to your dream? That happens to me often. And then I get blinded because I forget that I'm making progress and I didn't write it down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting closer to my dream, but I feel this hopelessness, and it's just the world kind of just surrounds me, and I'm like, ugh. But whenever I take time to remember what I've done, remember who I am, remember who's around, to help me, then it's just wow, I'm actually really close to achieving my dream. And it's kind of strange that I didn't think otherwise. But how are you supposed to know something when you don't keep track of it yourself? When you get blinded, when you get surrounded by the noise of everything, when you constantly scroll through social media, which I have sometimes a very bad inclination to do so. Even on YouTube, I'll scroll through YouTube just trying to search for the perfect video, and it's just the more I scroll, the further I'm getting away from any sort of self-acknowledgement of my own path, And this story, this writing was just almost my own self verification of hey, you're doing good, you're on your path, keep on remembering. In this day and age, I find myself, and I think a lot of others agree, because I see a lot of other people talking about the same thing, is that we always tend to forget what we've done, and how much impact we actually have had in this world. And it takes a whole village, of people just reminding you, hey, you've done this, you've done that. Hey, you did this the other day, you're good, rest, it takes so many voices, so many people just to just ground that inside of you, ground that, awareness of oh, hey, you're doing good. You're making little steps towards your dream. You're good. Stop worrying. And we have just a I mean, I have a problem with that. And I feel like going outside, like I am now. Usually, I just go out for nature walks. Like that settles me in. Or reading my writings, like that settles me in. Or doing something that isn't necessarily associated with social media, but like the act of remembrance is like the best path forward, I would say, for someone. Sometimes we search for dopamine, to find our path again, because we're like, oh yeah, dopamine, remember the good feelings and what we're after. But I don't think that's always the case. And I'm not trying to, knock down all the dopamine go getters, but it's just like at a certain point, you got to realize like there's more out there that you ought to have to realize to truly realize who you fully are as a human being. It can't just be a post, or it can't just be through someone else. There's some self discovery to discovering your own dream. And there has to be some own self investigation to find that source of energy that will achieve your dream. And that energy is inside, that self discovery is inside, or at least that energy comes from within. I mean, the energy can very well come from a Big Mac, and it come from food, but it's like you who, channels it. It's like, okay, we're sitting down. I got 10 energy because I ate this burger, and we're gonna use at least 2 of it to write. Maybe we'll take 1 of it to walk, And it's just like you are the control of your life, and you hold the essence of it. You are the one who tells yourself not to be blind. You're the one who realizes that there actually is a natural order. And that order, that time flows through all the time. And you are the one who will pick yourself up after the setbacks, which will tell you that your dreams are not true. You are the one who also, has the power. And I think that essence, that just kind of like that push, that little nitro, just push of being like, yeah, yeah, you know what? I'm the one in power. I'm the one who could do things. It's like that's ultimately what I was trying to convey, or I at least would like for people to realize. So more people would kind of shy away from social media and just kind of like rediscover themselves to gain more authority, more authenticity, more confidence. Like everything goes up after that. So it's truly like the smallest things sometimes are the most miraculous ones. I'm not trying to sound too philosophical here, but you know, forgetfulness is not permanent. Every time you forget why you're doing something and you are wondering, like why, know that maybe for a day to, maybe max a week, like you forget exactly what you're doing, but you'll always be reminded. So never fear that you're going in the wrong way when you said you were, like a couple days ago. Like, I think that's a big stressor I could put on someone. It's like, please, continue. You will see where you're going in maybe 3 days' time. And it's just like, at that point, it's beyond words. Like, God's going to be like, yeah, listen up. You on the right path. Keep on walking. And it's just like, okay. You ain't going to deny God when you see him. I'll tell you that. So that's all I want to say. I don't want to flood you with information. I only really want you to take away the core of the message, which was the story. But this is kind of like my yap time, so I like a little bit of yap time just to talk and get everything out. So you guys can truly have like all the information. I'm not gonna withhold too much. Sometimes I get flagged for withholding, so I'm just like, hey, I'll give you everything. But truth be told, there's so much within you that you gotta unlock that, and then I think you'll be good. I think you'll be good. If you haven't already, go outside, take a walk, do something productive. I'm sure that would help you out. I, I'm told. Sometimes I have to be told too, so I'm just telling you. But without further ado, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the views and whatnot, and just the likes. If you do like, please, I'll thank you. I don't get too many, and subscribe. Subscribe would be nice too, but you don't have to. But I'll catch you on the next time. Hopefully I'll post more. I think I'll post more, so don't you worry. Don't you worry. All right. Bye now.